All right, welcome to the John Gradina classroom. I have a special guest today that I literally just called on a whim. And the reason why is because he is a man. He is a man's man. And I had to call him. His name is Josh Roberson. He was part of my 40 days of deliverance in January. He lives in Kentucky. He's a great father, great husband. And Josh, it's a great pleasure to have you on tonight.
Hey, thanks for the invite, John. I appreciate it. I appreciate what you said there.
Yeah, his connection's not great, so I hope, God willing, that you can hear him clearly. But I'm going to tell a story, and I want him to interject, and this is why I called him. So, okay, this weekend I had a lot of projects. I did some baseball field work, to working at the country club, to running hill repeats to get ready for the Mid-State Mile. Then I had a very difficult conversations this weekend with some people. Took a toll on me mentally. And then I worked on a project in the backyard for my kids for a Ninja Warrior course. And I'm going to be honest with you, by the time Sunday night hit, man, I was wiped out. So I did something I haven't done in years. And that was actually wake up when my body allowed me to wake up. Okay. So I slept for 11 hours last night, Josh. And
Wow.
that never ever happens. It's usually maybe 6, and I'm always going, always going. So I go through the day to day. I was off today because we started our summer break, but we did a great family event out in the woods. And when we got home from my parents' house, I was dreading. I'm gonna be honest. I was dreading doing all the trash because all this brush I cut up, my wife and I had to drag it all the way to the front yard. It was pouring rain out. I had to do the kitty litter. I had to do the bunny's cage. All these tasks to do, man. And then on top of it, I had to go get gas. I was all mad. It was $90 to fill up. And then while I'm filling up, Josh, while I'm filling up, this lady, okay, pulls in literally with a flat tire to the brim and pulls up, and pulling my gas in, pouring my gas in, and I just felt compelled by the Holy Spirit. Go talk to her. Go talk to her when you're done filling up your gas tank. So I filled up my gas tank. I went over there. I parked right next to her, and I said, "Hey, can I help you at all?" She's like, "No, I think my brother-in-law is coming." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" She's like, "Well, you can try to get some air in there." I tried, and I started putting air in her tire, and thank God it started to go in. It was at 3 psi. I got it to 40, and I said, "Hey, hopefully you can get home if you're not too far away." She's like, "I live right down the road." And I'm driving home, and I'm thinking to myself, how many men, how many men would actually go out of their way and just be able to assist someone who they don't know, no familiar background, and just say, "Hey, I'm here to just be a disciple to you." And as I'm driving home, it's literally maybe a half a mile from my house. I thought about what the definition of manhood is. And then I thought you popped in my head. And I'm like, I got to do a podcast about what it is to be a man. And Josh Roberson came to my mind. So, Josh, why don't you kind of tell people a little bit about your background? And then I know I really I led you into this great grandioso opening for you, but I tell you what, you always have stood out to me. And I never tell you this on a regular basis, but you're a man's man, and for many reasons. But I want you to kind of explain who you are and why do you think I think that about you. So you got the floor, brother.
All right. I appreciate that, John. Uh, so I've been hearing that phrase a lot, a man's man. I've had some, guys that I work with that say that. My wife has brought that up. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Because I don't consider myself a man's man. My definition of a man's pretty high. Funny thing is, I wasn't even. My mother and my grandmother raised me, but my mother made sure she put me around strong men
Yeah.
that taught me, a solid work ethic and how to be a servant. And I think most men would have seen that lady there, and they probably just would have been like, for one, they may have not have known how to fix that tire. Secondly, it may have been too awkward for them, or they just would have been like, well, somebody else could get it, because it's too easy as human beings for us to just be like, pass the buck, so to speak. Somebody else would get it. I don't. So I think that speaks volumes that something was pulling you to go and be like, hey, this lady's in need. Let me help her. Because most people are so paranoid nowadays of other people. They're scared of everything, and they don't want to help their fellow man at all. They just say somebody else to get it. And that's how, in my opinion, that's how a lot of men live their lives. They're like, they go to work, they come home, and they see things that need to be done. And maybe their spouse works, maybe she don't, but they just say, oh, somebody else will get it. I don't have to do it. I'm dog tired. I've paid my time in today. There's a lot of guys, and I try to speak life into some of those guys, and some of them listen, some of them don't. But you can always do more than you think you can. You can always push yourself farther. Like you said, Sunday night you was spent. Obviously, your body needed that rest. Otherwise, you wouldn't have done it. Like me, I get about 5 hours. If I get 6 hours of sleep at night, I feel like I could, climb to the top of a mountain, because I'm not used to that. So I just my whole
Yeah,
thing is,
hold on,
and I
brother.
ain't always been like this, John. Something happened to me 2 years ago
Yeah,
when I turned 40 that changed my perspective. Man, just lost me.
no, you're good now.
Hang on.
I'm sorry.
All right, sorry. You got me now?
Yeah,
No,
start.
that's okay. Do you
Yeah,
have me now?
after you said something happened 2 years ago when you turned 40. So let's start there. It's perfect.
All right. So about 2 years ago, I don't know what happened. I think the second half of my life is going to be better than the first half. And it's not that I had a great childhood, but something happened to me 2 years ago where I was like, I have to make a change. I gave up drinking. I hadn't had a drop of liquor. This December would be 3 years, and that, like, I used to drink like it wasn't casually. It was like I'm going all in. I recommitted my life to Jesus Christ. I started getting in contact. That had to do with just listening to different podcasts, surrounding myself with strong men, and then just cutting the fat off, cutting dead weight. And of course, then I met you. I've seen a program that you did, the 40 Days of Deliverance. That brought even more discipline to my life. Now, since my birthday this year, I've slacked off a little bit, and I'm trying to get dialed back in. And I'm looking forward to the next session of 40 days. But I think that the biggest thing is just a lot of times men, I think, look at things the wrong way. And they need to have, it really boils down to having a servant's heart.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to help people? And sometimes it's hard to help people because we're human. We get our feelings hurt. We get burnt, so to speak. But at the end of the day, if I can push somebody to make them want to better their lives or be a better husband, better father, if I can provide inspiration for that, as much as I don't like that, because I'm not into flattery.
Yeah.
But as much as I don't like it, if I can provide that for a guy or a man, however you want to put it, then okay, I'm okay with that. 2 weeks ago, I had a buddy of mine tell me, he said, whether you like it or not, you're inspiring people. He's like, you've seen, he goes, people around you are noticing what you're doing in your life. He said, and it's not because you're going around like, look at me, look what I'm doing. He's like, your results and your actions are making people say, man, I want to be a part of that. And to be honest, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to add discipline to my life. I'm trying to do hard things and be consistent and just show up. That's what I'm doing,
Well, that's a hard thing for men. Let me be honest. A lot of men are cowards. in the fact that they don't know how to show up to the arena of life. And the reason why they don't know how, I think, is they've never been taught how. That's my personal opinion, Josh. I think a lot of boys or young men really don't know how to act. And the reason why is they don't know who to follow. And the people they're following, it's a whole range of people, obviously. But if you want my personal opinion, they're out there living a comfortable life to where they're just existing and they don't have a purpose. So if you don't have a purpose in life, then you're just going through life. That's key. And you found that out when you turned 40. I really found that out maybe a little before I've always had a purpose in my life. I will say that. I've been on the straight and narrow path pretty much my whole life. But, I just want people to realize you weren't meant to just be. You were all born with gifts to be great. And I've witnessed you personally, since I've known you, to do phenomenal things. And what my observation of you, and why my thought popped in my head was, you have how many children you have again? You have 4.
I have 3 of my own, and I have 2 bonus.
Okay, so you have 5 children. You got a loving wife, and you wake up every day early, between what, 3 and 4, somewhere in that time.
Yes, sir.
And you go work out at what was that place? The gym called something? Jungle Gym.
It's called Iron Jungle Family Fitness.
Okay, yeah.
Giving the owner a plug here. Maybe he'll give me a discount.
Nice. Yeah, give him some plugs. That's awesome. So I'm going to read scripture here for you a second, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this topic of manhood for both of us to tell the men out there. This is from 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. And I think what this resonates with me, this verse, is that the ways of childhood are a lack of responsibility. Okay, think of it growing up, right, Josh? When we were growing up, I'm talking like pre-teens years. You didn't have to worry about cutting the grass. You always had food given to you. You always were driven everywhere. You had really no responsibility. But through responsibility, okay, and the more you have, the more you become a man. Now, I'm going to shift to responsibility, but also the wisdom to know what you provide for a family. So once you become responsible, and you tell me if I'm off on this, but once you become responsible and you have a wife, then you become a protector of her and the family. And then you, by your actions, speak to your wife and to your children of what they need to emulate, especially your boys. And then your girls, you want your girls to look at you as the husband they want to have. Okay, that's very important. So tell me a little bit about what a man needs to be and how we could help men or boys become men.
Well, so my take on that is that I want to touch real quick on what you said about, a lot of guys being cowards. I think a lot of men too play the victim. They think they've been dealt this bad hand in life, or, maybe they grew up in a home without a father, or, or however you want to take it, but they hang on to that their whole life instead of just saying, you know what, I got to drop this, I got to pull my boots up, I got to move on. So a lot of guys want to hang on to that victim mentality, and they want pity. And I think as a family man, you have to, I heard it said you have to lead from the front, right? And I often say that I don't like taking time away from my family when I'm at the gym or I'm running, but I have to do that, because by me focusing on myself, bettering myself, they benefit indirectly because I can be there for them. What my kids, they've started working out and like doing stuff like just little calisthenics, jumping jacks, air squats. They'll go out and run because they see me doing, and they're like, oh, well, this is what we're supposed to do. The man, if he really steps into his true role, in my opinion, he sets the pace for his family.
Yeah.
And it's not about being controlling
Mm-mm.
or saying it's my way, we're going to do it this way. It's saying, hey guys, this is the direction I think we need to go, and I'm going to show you the direction through my actions. Because at the end of the day, nobody really gives 2 cents with what you got to say. They want to see results.
Yeah. And
you
I
know
think, yeah, Josh, I think that's what people are witnessing of you, is this transformation. People who, and I never knew you pre-40, but what I've witnessed through social media is that you send a consistent message, which is, I'm showing up, I'm doing the best for my family, I'm making time for my family, and I'm being a responsible man for my family to see how I walk the walk and talk the talk. And that's what I love about you, Josh. So I think for everyone out there who wants to become a Josh Roberson, and it wasn't maybe easy for you, but you had the epiphany that, you know what, I'm not living my best life like this, and I need to wake
That's
up.
right.
So how much better, what advice would you offer those who are probably either living in a stupor of maybe alcoholism or other drugs, or maybe just bad habits? What's the best advice you'd give them?
The best advice for them, and let me touch real quick, is it's not that you're not going to have bad days or bad weeks. You just can't keep stacking those days. It's okay every once in a while to maybe feel sorry for yourself, but you can't drag that out over the course of years. And last week when you called me, I was having a day, we'll say, and I told my buddy, I said, John Gardine is calling me. He's like, oh, pick it up. He didn't even know who it was.
Yeah.
So, and you encouraged me, and I called my wife. I said, Gardine just called me. I said, I guess he knew I was getting a little sleepy behind the wheel, and I said, he just fired me up again. And she's like, oh, it's good. She goes, I'm glad to hear that. But my opinion, for a guy has to create discipline in his life. And I think that starts with pick a book up. If you just read 2 pages a day, start building a habit. It doesn't even have to be a book. Hey, if you like going hiking, or you like fishing, or riding your bike, you have to start somewhere where you're putting some discipline and consistency in your life to create a habit, so you get over this pity party mentality, so to speak. Because if you don't have anything to shoot for, if you don't have any goals, like, what do you do? You're just existing. Like, are you really showing up for your family if you're just going to work, coming home? Maybe you're irritated. Maybe you're just sitting on the couch. You're not really engaged. Like, I think being deliberate, being present, like when you're with your family, that's important. Like, a lot of times I'm on my phone so much throughout the day at work. When I get home, I'll put it on silent, and I just usually throw it on the bed, or put it someplace else, out of sight, out of mind, because I want my kids to know, hey, I'm here. Let's talk about it. What do you got going? And sometimes, you have days where that you don't always connect like that. But I think for a man to get himself out of a stupor, he has to find something that he's interested in, and he has to start building that discipline and that consistency.
Yeah, I mean,
and then it's going to rub off on his family.
yeah. Josh, I agree 100%. I mean, the formula is easy once you get it going. The hard part is to get it going. And I think a lot of people they don't know how close they can be if they just get the ball rolling. So like for you, perfect example, like you don't have to do a lot. You can just start with 2 pages a day of reading. Maybe it's just walking a mile a day, whatever it is.
Right.
But I think you would agree with me that I think you need to do stuff for all 3 areas of your mind, your body, and your spirit. so that you have balance in all of those areas that God designed us to have, so that we can have wisdom, we can have physical strength, and we could also just be in tune with the Father, so that we know how to emulate to our children and our wife of love. And I think that's one thing that I want to touch on real quick is, when you say man and love, some people may say like, well, man, you gotta love nobody, right? It's like, that's the biggest lie ever. A true man, okay, is dangerous, right? Physically, but he knows how to love, and he knows how to be gentle, and he knows how to show such compassion and care and service to others, that's a true man. It's not someone who's just brute, who's throwing 400 pounds around the weight room or a 5-minute mile. It's a guy who has it all. And what I mean, like I said, it's a balance. It's being powerful, but yet being humble. So what do you think about that? Do you think that love is a key component of being a man?
I guarantee it is. You gotta have there's nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong with a man. You know what? Sometimes you gotta cry it out.
Yeah.
And and that's okay to be emotional, because I think that lets, especially if you're around your family, it lets them know you're real family. You should be comfortable enough that you can communicate with them. Hey, today's not my day. If you get a little emotional, that's fine. It shows them that you're real. And a lot of guys are like you said, they just want to be tough all the time. I'm a big hugger, and there's guys at work. There's one guy at work, man. Me and him has worked together for 7 years. Every day we're at work, we give each other a hug.
Awesome.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing weird about that to me, because a hug, somebody might be having a bad day, you don't even know it. You can give them a hug, and they're like, oh, it's like, man, I appreciate you. Like, you didn't know what that done for me, or however. So I think it's okay for a guy to be in touch with his feelings. I don't think you want to be so in touch with them that you got to carry a mop bucket around.
Yeah.
But it's okay because to me, it shows your family that you're real, and it's okay to have emotion, and that they see all aspects of that emotion, whether you're happy, you're sad, if you're showing passion because you got, something coming up, a goal that you've set that you want to achieve, and you're pushing towards that. So you're being passionate about it. And I think a lot of guys get that misunderstood. They think they got to be tough all the time. And I wasn't raised like that. I don't believe that, honestly.
Yeah.
I think you got to be in touch a little bit with your emotions so you can connect with people.
Yeah, I agree. I think, it's, we dug down deep, I think, just talking about what it is to be a man. And I guess the last question I have for you, again, I appreciate your time tonight. Again, I just called you on a whim, and I felt compelled to have a conversation about this, to help other people. So the last question I have for you is, when you are dead, and I know it sounds so, when you're old and you're gray and you die, what would your kids say about you, or your grandkids say about you, that would make you proud?
What I hope when I'm laying in my box is I want my kids to say that they had a great childhood. They had a father that loved them. They had a father that they knew they could count on, that instilled work ethic in them, that wasn't scared to stop whatever he was doing and love on them if they was having a bad day. And I want them to remember all the things we did together. Nobody's ever at a memorial service saying, hey, you remember that time, Dad bought us that TV. You remember that time? Kids don't remember that. They remember the experiences. And I want my kids, even though I know they'll be sad when that day comes, but I want them to look back and be happy on all the good times we had and the experiences that we went on and the adventures. And that's the legacy I want to leave. I want to leave a legacy of, just, it's okay to love. Just get out there and love everybody, man. You ain't got to be weird about it. Just love, be a servant, and try to be the best version of yourself that you can.
That's perfect. Man, you're a good man. That's why I love you, Josh.
Some days.
And I really hope you can make it down. I hope you can make it down to Mid-State next weekend. Just even if you could a little bit. I know
I'm coming through.
I would love it. I got a nice place for you to help out while I grind.
I'll be the guy over there saying, don't talk about it, be about it. I'll be yelling at everybody.
Yeah, I like that. Don't say anything negative, John. You're doing great. You feel great. Get up that hill. I'll see you in 20 minutes or less.
That's right. That's right.
I love it, man. Well, hey, tell you what, I know I pulled you away from your family, but I know that what you said today in our conversation is going to have impact for many years. And one day your children are going to listen to this and be like, man, I'm damn proud of my father, or I'm real proud of my grandfather. So this is going to resonate for many years to come. So I really appreciate your time, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the invite, John. I appreciate it.
We got a lot of work to do, son. So I'll see you in 2 weeks. I'll see you in 40 days, in less than a month. And let's get after it.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
All right, brother. Hey, everyone, this class is dismissed.